Well, if I'm looking a little bit dishevelled, it's because I really am. I've just gone through the most amazing experience of my angling career. Mother Nature has thrown everything she possibly could at us. We've had Siberian weather, even though it's the beginning of spring. We're at the Linear Complex in Oxford. We're fishing St John's Lake, but there are lakes spread all around here with big fishing, but St John's in particular has got some real characters and some monsters as well. We want to see those on the underwater cameras, and we want to catch a few as well. So sit back and enjoy the ride. What we're basically doing at the moment is adjusting so that both cameras are looking at exactly the right place on the bottom where the rig's going to be lying. So for the wide camera, we want it in one position. Then the close camera that's going to zoom right in on the hook, we want it in a different position. So these adjustments are very, very small, but they make a big difference when it gets out there in the water. And once it does go into the lake, because we've got no horizon to look at, it doesn't really matter if the rig's lying that way or that way. As long as it's in the middle of both shots now, it's going to be in the middle of both shots when it goes out there. So little adjustments at the moment, but you've got to get it right because it's going to sit on the bottom for like 2 weeks. So the effort now makes all the difference. Well, we've been here about, I don't know, 8 or 10 hours, and we're finally going to cast in, but not with a hook on, just a boilie on the end of that, a pop up, a bright one, and all I'm doing now is marking the distance, so when the fish do come in and start feeding, I'm already clipped up at the distance, so hopefully we can walk around there, chuck a little bit of bait in, scare them away, and get the cast in almost first time. And that is key in this situation, is getting the rod out first time as many times as we can. We're only casting into an area that's probably 3 foot square. Normally, if you'd land it 6 foot from the float, you'd leave it, but in this situation, that's too far away. We've got about a 3 foot square we've got to cast into. So getting it right now makes all the difference when the fish are in the swim. So let's try and do it. Ali's obviously going to direct me to let me know where it is.
Now it's going in there. I'm going to try and go past it and then draw it back in front of you.
The rod is in and it's well past the camera, so I'm going to drag it back now. Hopefully you should see it come through the shot.
Keep coming, gently, gently. Smidging more, we just left the shot now. All right, stop there, Dan. Stop there.
Right, I'm going to clip this up and go and have a look. Make sure it's where I want it. Oh, there's a bit of weed around it, isn't there?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Right. Beautiful.
That'll do, won't it?
Yeah, we've got quite a lot of distance the other way as well, haven't we?
I'd say like 7 foot, I'd guess, is what we've got. Maybe a tiny bit more.
Yeah, that was very close. That seemed very close to the camera, that.
Yeah.
How far away do you reckon we are? Let's go down and to the base plate. That's a base plate there. Clarity's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah, better than
there's our pop up, look.
Better than we expected, that
yeah,
clarity.
a lot better than we expected, yeah.
No carp in there though, so we'll see what they. I think even if they come in and stir it up, it'll be
fine.
That'll do, won't it?
Yeah. Do you think I'll catch one on that?
Yeah, you might need to hook on.
Yeah.
Depends how confident you get them.
Right, I'll clip it up and I'm going to do a few more so it's dropping in that same position. Really, I want it out here.
Yeah, of course.
A little bit further out.
But that's good for distance near enough.
That's good for distance. That tubing looks pretty good, doesn't it?
Yeah, and the cog looks amazing. Yeah. Look, I thought it might
be raised. There's a bit of weed around it though,
yeah,
son, isn't there?
Yeah, I thought you'd pick that up on purpose.
Good, okay.
That's mega. Right, well the camera's in. So what we're doing now is actually preparing the bait for the spot. Now after the last underwater DVD that was a success, a few years back, people wanted to find out more about boilies. You know, how do they react to just boilies on the spot? So that's exactly what we're going to do. We're just going to be putting in boilies, but we're going to vary it because there's more than one way to skin a cat. So we've got whole baits that are going to go in here, but the first thing I'm doing, I've got a mixture of 15mm cell and 15mm new Grange, and I've just got them going through the cutter tool, so I'm getting a few halve baits first. And what that's actually doing is breaking the seal of the boilies, so it's letting out more attraction, more leakage, so hopefully luring them fish down a lot quicker. Because the first thing we actually want them to do is get confident around the camera, because that's something totally different to the spot. You know, they're not used to a camera rig on the bottom, so we've got to get them coming in around it, feeding confidently and getting used to it. So by making the baits a little bit more attractive by cracking them open, that's going to have a better leakage rate, and hopefully those fish are going to be enjoying it a lot quicker. So I'm just probably going to do maybe 1 kilo of halves. So easy to do in this cutter, just push them out like that and you'll get 1 kilo done in no time. Just keep them going through like that. And then I'm going to do some with a crusher as well, because that's very important. These are going to go down to a fine crumb, so if fish come in throughout the night, it's going to keep them busy on the spot for a while. You know, they're going to be sort of sieving away and snuffling, as we call it, on the spot, coming right along, and that'll keep them busy on that spot and hopefully keep them occupied long enough for us to hopefully get visual of them feeding. And even if they do clear out all the whole baits, again, you're going to have this sediment. It's going to sort of hold into the silt and the gravel on the bottom, and it's going to keep them coming back for more and more. So even when they do clear you out, believe it or not, with a bit of crumb on the spot, it's amazing how long fish will stay there, and it'll look like they're eating nothing, but they are. They're just, you know, the smell and everything that's in the swim will keep them coming back. So that's an idea of what we're going to do. So look, I'm just going to add some whole baits. You can see there's the new Grange and the cell. In they go. Another big handful. And we're going to put this right around the camera, but also up the tree line as well, because I want it to be as natural as possible, where the fish are used to coming up and down. You know, I want them grubbing around there. If I give you a look at this now, there we go. If I give you a handful now, halves, holes, crumb, it's all in there. All we've got to do now is introduce it to the spot, and hopefully those carp won't be too far away in having a good old feed on this lot. So I'm just waiting for Mr. Fairbrass to park himself in the seat inside the tent, and just radio through to me when they're ready for me to start putting bait in. So this will be the first time that we're going to introduce some boilies, crumbed, chopped, halves and whole onto the spot, and at St John's, and hopefully those fish won't be too far away. But it's cooling down now, and this is the shallow end, so it could be through the night or by the morning, but I'm hoping there'll be at some point in the next 10 hours of darkness that they'll come and have a little mingle and party. Right, here we go. So there's the lovely chops that we've dampened down, so it should be leaking beautifully. So I'm going to put these there a bit further. Right in. It's going to go all over the base plate and where the camera is, but this is going to get them absolutely tearing it up, I hope.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Oh, it's raining boilies.
It's like one of them little things you get for Christmas.
I love it.
Shake up, it's lovely.
I love listening to them on the walkie-talkies when we're baiting up. That's
Mate, that looks like loads already. That looks like absolutely loads already. I'd hang fire for a minute.
I thought I was the new bait baron. I was going to load it up.
How much do you think you've put in now?
4 handfuls, and you know my hands are pretty little, mate.
Yeah, we don't want any more than that in the swim. You wouldn't believe how much bait that looks like on the bottom here.
You just wouldn't believe it. It's totally carpeted. So definitely the rest of your bait wants to be spread. You know, not the chops and stuff. I'd just put the whole ones up and down the margin and you know, sort of off of camera.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'll do, mate. Is I'll spread the whole 15 millers along this tree line for about 10 yards and down towards us for about 10 yards, so we've got a nice line of bait for them to come in on.
Put a bit of a vapour trail going out into the bay as well, mate, just into the weed and stuff, so it's spread, you know, like, say you were going to have 2 or 3 rods fishing out in that bay, you know, bait up over all of those rods.
Okay, yeah, I'll take a little line off the margin as well, you know, I'll fry it as far as I can get it, but not a lot.
Okay, dude, that's brilliant. You wouldn't believe how much bait there is line in the swim. It's still, the crumb is still just gently floating down.
I reckon that crumb's going to be falling for the next 10 minutes.
It's properly smoked up from here, you can really see it. It's really coloured up the water. Oh yeah.
Does that look a lot of bait to you though?
That looks like a mainline feast of boilie.
Looks a lot though, doesn't it?
It does,
you think
yeah.
for 4 handfuls,
Yeah.
that's properly littered, isn't it? You know?
That crumb will keep them busy for a good time as well, won't it?
Yeah.
You know, through the night, they'll be coming back. Hopefully, they'll be coming back.
Yeah.
Time and time again.
Yeah. That's opened my eyes straight away though, because...
That's 4 handfuls.
Yeah, and that looks like too much to me. I know it won't be because there's loads of fish in here, but, you know, I reckon in the end we'll be putting half an handful in round the camera.
Well, when I did the thinking tackle here, it was like the more bait you put in, the quicker the bites got.
Yeah.
Which is weird. It was almost like a small amount of bait. They're sort of not nervous of, but they feed on and then they disappear. A load of bait, a load of them come in.
Right.
And just smash it to smithereens and you get a take. So.
Okay. We shall see. Let's let it. It's got obviously now it goes dark. That's the time, innit? They get used to the camera being there. It gets light tomorrow and hopefully we'll start seeing them. Time for us to feed.
Yes.
Well, it is the first full morning. The camera's been in the water all night. We had some problems with the computers this morning, but we finally solved them. The weather is absolutely savage at the moment. It's showing 6 degrees on the weather app that we're using. This time last year it was 26 degrees on this very day. So it shows you how much colder it is for the time of year. We're seeing odd fish just coming through and just having a look. Some bait has been eaten, not very much at all. But what we've just done is just thrown a little bit of extra bait in around the camera, just a few chops and stuff, because the fish are definitely attracted by the sound as well as the smell. And then Ali's put a few boilies up the margin either way, just to draw fish back into the area. But this is not the weather conditions for this swim at all. We hoped it would be bright and sunny. If it was flat, calm, red hot, it'd be full of fish. But the way it is now, I'm guessing most of the fish are up the other end of the lake over the deeper water. So we're going to carry on watching the cameras. The weather's expected to break later on this afternoon, and with warmer temperatures, hopefully there should be more carp in the area, but we're going to watch intently for now. You never know, they might start coming back in again.
Treacherous down here. And as you can tell, we didn't really want rain, but that's exactly what we've been getting. So just to give you a little rundown of why we're going to do what we're about to do, we've got the boilies down there, and to be fair, the carp should be coming in and eating them, but we're only getting odd ones ghosting past. So what we're going to do is just try to maybe accelerate the situation a little bit more, just give them something different. In fact, when we were testing the cameras at Kev Knight's house in his pond, we actually we had pellets down there in front of the camera, and then put some corn in, and the fish started feeding, and as a result they ended up mopping everything else that was around it. So what I've done is just emptied a tin of corn into here, and then got some of that awesome corn twist goo and just added that in, and what it gives that corn a little bit of extra substance, lovely taste, lovely aroma, and a little bit of colour as well, just to haze it up a little bit. Not that we want to haze it up, but I think it might just be something. If fish are the odd ones that are going over the top, one might just tilt down and just fancy the corn instead of the boilies, and then as a result hopefully they'll start churning it. So I'm going to radio in to the gaffer, let him know that we're about to put the bait in. Dan, We're just about to throw a few handfuls of this corn in, so are you ready?
Yes, mate, recording now.
Great stuff, right, so not a lot, again, you know, it's a tin of corn, but probably won't put all of that in. Get it in my left hand, my favoured hand. So there we go, have a look. See there, just a bit of fleck of the colour on my hand. I'm just going to try to throw this in, hopefully the wind won't blow it into me. And can you see the little bit of goo coming off them? Looks amazing in that clear water. Dan, I've put 2 handfuls on the spot. I've just put 1 to the left. Are you all right with the amount, or would you like a bit more?
Well, I think we'd all like a bit more, mate.
But I'm happy with the amount of corn.
Great, so we're just going to put another handful just to the right. And just over there. And if you think that's a tin of corn, we've probably put half a tin of corn out, all that goo on it, loads of taste now in the water, and if any carp come ghosting past, it might just be a new dimension that could get one feeding. So let's see what happens.
We've been hampered by the weather massively. It's poured down with rain all day long, which is the complete opposite of what we wanted for this part of the lake. But in spite of that, we've seen fish in there regularly pretty much all day. Just fleeting glances sometimes, other times 2 or 3 fish will come in together. There's a very interesting bit earlier on where there were 2 or 3 fish in the area. Oh, there's one coming in right now, so I'm just going to record that right on cue. That is the small common, I think, that we've had coming through. Oh, there's 2 in there now. That is literally 2 or 3 minutes after Ali's put some more bait in. A couple of fish have come in to investigate. We're seeing them showing out in the bay. What I was going to say was earlier on we had 2 or 3 fish around the camera, and a mallard dived down and started picking up baits, which have had problems with the ducks all day long on this shallow spot, picking up baits, and it completely spooked the carp away. They hated it. And it took quite a while for them to come back in, and right on cue there are 2 back in now. One's got all clay down. No, there's 3 back in now. It's amazing how the swim can go dead for sort of an hour. You throw a bit more bait in and the fish come in to investigate. We've not seen anything feeding yet, but this is very, very encouraging behaviour from the fish, and we never expect really to be casting in on day 1. We'd like to see them feeding, and I'm sure that will happen in time. There's lots of fish showing out in the bay, so we're going to keep watching, and hopefully tomorrow we should get a rig out there. The wind has changed, there's less rain, a little bit of rain during the night but not too much. We saw loads of fish in front of the camera last night just before it got dark. We even saw the big plated, we think. But the camera was so slow at that point because it was so dark we couldn't tell 100%, but there were a lot of fish around. So we put a lot of bait in before it got dark, all around the camera and all around the area as well, just like you'd bait up if you were fishing. This morning we've turned the camera on, no bait in the swim whatsoever. They have eaten everything. So there's obviously been numbers of fish feeding there in the dark. We put some more bait back in first thing this morning, and a few carp came in and just sort of looked around, but nothing's actually fed. So Ali's just been round there again a minute ago and put some more bait in over the top of the camera and either side of it as well to hopefully draw fish in. The sun's out now, and that's what we need. For that bay, we need the sun to heat the water up and the fish will start drifting back in here again in numbers. The afternoon we're expecting to be the best time of the day, so from 1 o'clock perhaps until it gets dark, hopefully we'll start to see some fish feeding. Once they've fed confidently, then we're going to put a rig in. But for now, it's just a waiting game, so I'm going to join Mr. Hamidi back in the bivvy and just keep watching them fish, and hopefully, as time goes on, they'll start to feed properly. Well, it's the afternoon of day 2, and after a pretty sort of frustrating day, the fish have started to come in. It's now just before 6 o'clock, and we think we may have seen the big plated. We're not 100% certain. There's a duck just eating some more bait. He's very, very excited. Even
I
though
am.
he's
50 hours these cameras have been in, and when the first one tipped down, it was like in slow motion as it come in, and the minute its angle changed, you knew that was it. It was a beautiful moment. Since 2007, we've been waiting to see one feed again on an underwater camera. So I can't quite explain the sort of relief that we've had. You know, you start thinking all sorts, like, is there something wrong with the cameras? Is it giving out a feed? But really, it's just a matter of them getting comfortable, isn't it,
Well,
Dan?
it's putting the camera in the right spot on the right lake at the right time of year. And there's the old duck again.
Daffy's having it.
Yeah, it's just a case of patience now. We're gonna let them carry on eating this food. They're coming in greater numbers now, which is really important. And fish have started to feed in front of the camera, with the camera turned on in the daylight, which is really important. So we're just going to let them have this food today, put some more grub in later on, and hopefully tomorrow morning conditions will remain the same and the fish will come back in again. It seems to be afternoons and evenings is best in here at the moment, but you never know. But it's all very, very encouraging.
We're going to put more bait in, aren't we, tonight?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. Well, things are really hotting up out there now. There are numbers of fish coming through, and that's the important thing. We've got groups of fish we haven't seen before. The bay is clearly filling up with fish. As more anglers turn up around the lake, it's helping to push fish in here. It's still not the most ideal conditions, but the fish don't know that. They're coming in now and they're taking more and more bait. It was an absolute revelation to see them feeding in front of the camera for the first time. We were worried that there was something wrong with the camera and it was stopping the fish feeding. That's absolutely not the case. Ali's trickled a little bit more bait in the last hour or so, and the fish have just kept coming back, kept coming back. We're seeing new ones all the time, some real characters, some beautiful linears, some big long ones, some dark commons. There's loads of fish out there now feeding, so we're going to carry on putting more bait in. Loads is going to go on the spot and a lot all the way round it, just like we were fishing, and hopefully we're going to keep the fish there overnight, because last night the fish completely cleaned us out. There was no bait there in the morning and there was no fish either. So a lot more is going to go in, and then hopefully tomorrow morning we'll be able to put a rig in. Well, many developments since last night. We absolutely levered the bait in last night, all over the spot and all round it. They've eaten virtually all of it. There was still a little bit left, which is what we wanted. And then most importantly, there were fish here this morning. And there's lots of fish drifting around. We've seen one just dip down and have a little bit of a feed. So we're going to get a rig out there. But what we want to do first is actually scare them away before we cast the rig out. So Ali's creeping round there now. He's going to show Tom, who's just turned up, where to put the bait in, because we're going to have Ali in here watching the screen as I cast, Tom round there chucking the bait in to scare the fish away, and then me hopefully getting one on the spot. So I'm going to start recording on this so we can see that bait falling in. And let's give Ali some instruction. Al, are you ready to drop the bait in, mate?
Yeah, mate, yeah, I'm ready to put it in. Hang on 1 second as well, I'm going to turn the volume down on this thing.
Got to be as stealthy as possible out there, so he's turning the volume down. Loads of anglers turning up. It's Friday morning, so it's getting busier and busier, which is
Yeah,
actually...
I'm ready if you want us to walk down to the water's edge.
Yes, please, mate. If you bait up now, we're recording now. There's lots of anglers turning up, and that's going to help us actually, because we've got 4 swims that no one can fish in this bay, and the lack of lines is probably going to help push them in. That's lovely, mate. That's just going out just beyond the spot into the gloom, those first couple of bits.
Check this second lot should be good, and I'll put another few just a bit closer if you want.
The second lot will perfect. If you spread it left and right now of shot, you know, out sort of that same sort of range from the camera, but left and right, so it's not just a line directly in front of the camera. It's well off to the left and well off to the right to give them a bit of free. Well, actually, not to the right, sorry, because that's where the line's going to go. But off to the left, you know, down that sort of the shallower bit there. A little bit on that, please.
Yeah, that's what I was going to do, mate. Yeah, I won't put anything to the right. Do you want me to do what I was doing and just scatter a few sort of in a little line up that margin a little bit as well, give them a little trail?
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, a bit of a vapor trail. Are you just putting chops in the swim, or are you putting whole ones?
Just whole baits at the moment. That's all I've taken round. So.
Okay, mate. Yeah, just a few up the margin. That'd be great. What we're basically trying to do is create a bit of a trail into the spot, but not from where the line's going to be, from the other end of the bay, so the fish come in and hopefully the first thing they encounter is the rig, not the line. And that's really important in your own fishing, to not bait over the top of the line, because you've got fish feeding right on top of the line, they're touching the line, that's going to spook them, you start getting line bites, not ideal. You want them coming in, so the first thing they come in contact with is the hook bait, not the line and the lead system. So this is the rig that's going out there, what I think is going to suit the spot first of all. So we've got a size 6 captor curve there in brown to match the gravel. One of my all-time favourite banoffee hook baits, fished on a D rig. That's 15 pound IQ2 fluorocarbon with a little tiny bit of putty wrapped around a small sinker just to hold it flat on the bottom. And then the all-important lead system, I've got a 3 ounce flat pair cog lead. So the fish is picking the lead up from the heaviest point, again in brown, and then a brown lead clip as well. And then the gravelly colour dark matter rig tube, and I've flecked that up with just like a brown marker pen, just to sort of break up the straight line. And when we chucked that out there originally to mark the distance, it blended in fairly well. You can see it, but we've got to start somewhere. So this is what I'm going to cast out first of all. I'm going to wrap a little bit of foam around there. When it drops into the spot, Ali's hopefully going to be able to see the foam, and if I've overcast a little bit, we can drag it back to get it into position. I think from the sound in the bivvy that might be bang on. Is the foam still on?
Yeah, no foam on it, Dan.
It landed over that stick a little
but
bit.
it's landed
Over a stick.
exactly where you want it to land.
Right, perfect.
There's a stick in the shot. Let me just, Dan, I just need to go to the zoom camera.
Okay. Right, I'm gonna let the line sink under its own weight. We're using 12 pound contour fluorocarbon, which is very, very heavy and very hard to see. We found if you just let it sink under its own weight and not actually tighten it up, it actually lays better on the bottom. We can do that at the moment because there's no wind in this bay whatsoever. If we had a big crosswind, I'd have to be putting the tip of the rod under the water and letting it sink that way.
Dan,
yes, mate.
you get Dan.
It's
If you
unbelievable.
mate. I mean, you've got no foam on it, and it's hooked round a tiny twig on the bottom.
Right, I'll come and have a look. Yeah, I mean, as bad luck would have it, the only stick in the swim, and they're coming in big style now, and the hook has gone round, we think it's gone round the stick, but we're not going to, it took me 3 goes to get it out there bang on, and we're not going to muck about with it because it is black with them out there at the moment. They're all charging around, getting all turned on. So we're just going to see, if this gets picked up and it doesn't hook the fish, then it's one of them situations where you're sitting behind a rod thinking you should be catching and you're not, and something like this has happened that you could never ever know. So we're going to leave it for a little while and see what happens. If it gets picked up and it won't hook a fish because of that stick, then we will redo it. But that is fishing at the end of the day. Right, let's just turn that down. We've just seen what we think is the box common in the swim, which is over 40 pounds, and we've been discussing the lay of the rig and the fact that the hook looks like it's round the only twig that's out there. So what we're going to try and do is something you couldn't do in your normal fishing, but because we can see the rig we can do it. I'm going to try and tweak the rig back ever so slightly and just see if I can get it past that twig, because it looks like the hook's right over the top of it. If it looks like it's snarled up on it, we're going to wind it back in and cast it out again. But for now, the way to pull it back seems to be point the rod at it. Ali?
Yes, mate.
I'm just tightening up now.
All right, mate. I've zoomed out as well on the tight.
Right, just talk to me and tell me when it starts to move.
Okay. Stop.
Are we safe?
Yeah, we're safe, mate. Yeah. Come and have a look at it.
Right, okay. I'm just going to reset the bobbin. So just that little tiny tweak has moved the lead, pulled the hook away from the twig, hopefully. I'm just going to have a look in a minute, but let's reset that first, just in case it goes off. Turn that back on so we hear it. There we go. Right, let's have a look in the bivvy. Right, we're cooking on gas now then, aren't we?
Yeah, that was worth doing, that was.
That was worth doing. Well done, Tom.
Thanks, mate.
Good suggestion.
Good.
Yeah. we're seeing loads and loads of fish in front of the camera now, big groups of them coming through, and the debate is on as to what we do next. Personally, I want to hang fire. You want to do what?
Put some more boilies out, not in shot, but just up and down the bank to get them feeding everywhere.
Right.
I'd rather do. That's what I'd do in a normal situation. Yeah.
Right, okay. How many would you put in then?
Kilo.
A kilo of boilies, that's quite a lot.
Yeah, it is,
That's
yeah.
500 baits
Yeah,
and the
look how
size we're
many fish
using.
there. How
Oh, he's turning.
Oh.
Go for the
He's
banoffee,
big,
son.
he's big.
Yeah, look at his big old black belly on him.
Yeah.
Black belly. That's what we call him. They're properly circling now, and it's edgy as seat stuff at the moment. Hamid?
Just unbelievable, mate. isn't
Yeah,
it?
but
We've
what are you going to do?
Well-
what would you
well,
do now?
I've already said we've had a couple of heated debates about it because
Yeah.
I think when you're on a longish session, you're willing to wait. But I think if you're on a day session and you can see the spot like we can here, I would be inclined to put maybe a different type of bait in, because when we first got them feeding, we had the boilies in, we had some corn in, we had some pellet in, and obviously a crumb. When they came in yesterday evening, they started feeding. Difference is now, from the morning, we've got loads and loads of fish going at it, and they're still not, I don't believe, ravenous enough for the amount of fish that are in the swim. So it's the decision process that we all have to go through, and that's why it's brilliant, you know, that we've got 3 different opinions here sat right there.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to putting more bait in, but I don't want to put pellet in. I don't want to put sweet corn in.
I would never do that over a longer period. I wouldn't do that.
But
If
it just
in a
changes
session,
everything,
I would
doesn't it?
wean them
but
off.
we're on a
Yeah.
14-day session,
Yeah.
aren't we? We're on a
Yeah,
14-day session. We're not just fishing today.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, if you wanted to get a bite off of that spot today, the best thing would have been to have not put any bait in and just had one hook bait sitting out there, and then that's the only thing that can get taken.
I think they love
know?
the bait though. They do love the sound of the bait.
But from
you
the
would put out pellet if you was
No.
fishing getting out.
If
So
I was
why
in
are
this
we putting it out now?
situation, building it, what I'm talking about
but look, they're
is,
coming in all the time
Yeah.
now and picking baits up, aren't they?
yeah,
You know.
I think an hour looking at this as well is a long hour, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's brilliant, mate. It's
Yeah.
Because you can see
brilliant.
everything going on.
Yeah.
You start
Yeah.
to think what's going on. But
You'll look as
really,
old as me by the end of this,
Yeah.
won't you?
Yeah, not sure.
But I'm not talking about putting in a bucket of pellets. I'm talking about putting in a handful of pellets. Just something to put a different scent or taste in the swim. That's all. But liner.
Did we see that move
Usually
or
you'd
not?
be up against
I
it,
Did you
wouldn't
see? Did
I
you see
didn't
the
see
line
it.
move?
No,
on
I
the-
haven't.
No,
And
No?
the hook
the
baits.
tubing didn't pick up on nothing.
No.
No.
And that
Oh,
banoffee.
no.
Tense, no, go away.
Go away, Satan!
D Macy, where are you?
Where are you when we need you? Oh, leave
Is
it
it?
out.
It's got a really beady red eye.
Yeah, it's got a beady red eye.
You haven't caught a tench
This is
since
like-
the very first one, have you, Dad?
It's like the scourge of the underwater, the tench. And they
it's-
love a banoffee as well.
It is epic, though. I mean, that is why I love it when you sit here and you got 3 experienced anglers all talking about 2 and one not.
Yeah.
have a slap. But it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because I think we would all tweak it. But I think the neutral one, which we'd both probably agree with a bit, is just at some point putting in more to maybe build that
Would
intent.
you, with all these fish in the swim, would you now spray bait all over the area when there's so many fish swimming around in the
Yeah,
area?
but I would have been putting bait out constantly anyway. So putting a bit more bait out wouldn't have
No, we're saying about putting it.
No, I
putting-
would, yeah, I would.
Oh, he looked
it
like
is.
he's going to go.
Well, we've just had a fish very, very close to it, and amazingly, we had ducks diving in the swim, and I just cast a spot out there just with a little bit of water in it to give it some weight, and actually put it too far and put it in the tree, flicked it back out, and it landed almost on top of the camera, scared the ducks away. But the sound of that happening has actually brought the fish back into the swim, and there's another one going down. That's another one
that's close.
that we've had feeding before.
He's about
Isn't it?
6 inches from the bait.
No, less than that. Look, it's there. His head's there. Look, the hook
Yeah.
bait's on the. He was 2 inches away.
Amazing how the sound of a cast or a spod or whatever has actually brought them back into the area. Just that.
The dinner bell on.
The dinner bell on top of the spot, exactly right, mate. Unbelievable. They've all just come back in. Just that, I think it's 2 things. One,
Oh, that's
the
a deep.
ducks are scaring them away when they're diving. They're spooking away, and also the sound of the spod going in, which we'd think would scare the carp, is actually scaring the ducks and bringing the carp in. So
yeah, we'll use that to good effect. But we're also considering putting some more bait into the swim, just to try and turn the fish on, because if we were fishing out here normally, we wouldn't just have a bait in a very small area. We'd be baiting all up and down the margins and out into the lake like we have been at night. So we were going to put some more bait in the swim to try and turn them on a bit, but it looks like the spod has turned them on, doesn't it?
Really has,
They've just come back in the swim and fed.
Going in earlier.
Yeah.
There's more fish feeding now, Dan, than there was an hour ago as well.
Absolutely. Look, he's
There's
having a
one
feed
coming
there.
in.
Yeah.
We're now getting a feeder like every
They're
couple of
properly
minutes.
feeding and they're hovering, aren't they?
Yeah.
They're not just, some of them you've seen, they're not actually eating anything. They go down and then they go off, you know.
Just
But these now are stopping, aren't they? And I think it's... that was the sound, 1,000,000% that was the sound.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
That is typical of these day ticket lakes, isn't it?
It's the sort of thing where nothing's happening in your swim, one spotful back over the top or a few boilies back out there.
Just
Yeah.
not
Can
letting
be
it go
enough.
dormant.
Can
It's
be
anything,
enough.
Even the ducks going down, I think they might scare them off straight away, but I think after, when they come back, then it sort of pushes a
Yeah.
reaction, doesn't it? Instead
Yeah.
of it just going
Look, they're
dormant. That's not
properly-
what you want.
They were
They're
coming
properly
in.
coming in now.
The rig's now been out in the water for a couple of hours. There have been fish moving around all over the top of it. We managed to pull it away from that twig so the hook's all sitting perfect. And fish have fed around the spot, but nothing's really fed with any gusto. And the general consensus is we need more bait out there. So not necessarily on our spot, but all up and down the margins. Ali and Tom have fished here for the Thinking Tackle show. They've had loads of fish by putting lots of bait in. So what we're going to do now is wind the rig in. I'm going to try and position it slightly further away from the camera because we've noticed fish feeding on the edges of the spot rather than right in the middle of it. So by dropping it a couple of feet further away, the fish are clearly not scared of the cast going out there, because when I'm scaring the ducks with a spod, it's actually attracting the fish into the swim. So we're going to get it clipped up, get it repositioned, and then spread some bait up and down and see if we can really get the fish feeding. I've clipped up obviously before I've done that, so I can't cast too far, and I'm going to check the point of the hook to make sure it's sharp before I put it back out. That's our rig all perfect. What I'm going to do is just on my thumb there, that's digging into my thumb instantly, so the hook is still nice and sharp. Another bit of foam is going to go on, and we're going to get it back out there. The general consensus is the rig is in the wrong position. It's a little bit too far away from the camera, and although it looks really good for a bite, we're not going to see a lot. It's so clouded up out there at the moment. That's a combination of things. The fish are feeding in the weed, for one, on the bait that we've chucked around the spot but not on it. They're obviously feeding on the spot as well, but there's a load of water pumping in from a pipe that's coming from the lake next door, and that's obviously stirring it up. So brilliant feeding conditions, but very, very difficult viewing conditions. So because bite time, or when they started to really heavily feed yesterday, was about 5 o'clock, we figure it's better to reposition now, get it absolutely bang on the money, and then we can just leave it for the evening, and hopefully then it will generate a bite and we'll be able to really see it. So I'm going to get the rig out. It's no mean feat. I'm getting severely stressed out doing it, but we'll have another go and see if we can get it bang on the money. How's that?
Right, close to the camera, mate, hang on.
Too close?
Just landed in a right old heap. Hang on. Right.
I think that's too close. You want it a little
Yeah, it's a bit too close, Dan. I'd say you're about 1.5 feet away from the camera.
Right, is it on the right line though?
It's a little bit to the right of the spot, but it only took me like one flick on the pan and tilt to get to it.
Right, okay. So difficult doing this, getting it bang on the money. I mean, we're trying to drop it in probably a 2-foot square to get it bang on the money. And all of the casts that I'm putting out there in a normal fishing situation would be right. But because of the cameras, they're not. So I've just got to keep my cool and carry on doing it.
Dan, you couldn't have hand placed it better, mate.
I don't know if you can hear from the bivvy, but that means I've got it bang on. A bit of a jammy one, but it's out there. That's the main thing. Right, let's get the line sunk and Go and see what it looks like.
Just Dan, why don't you just place one right in the centre of the screen? Oh, you just did.
High five. Nice. Basically doing is Ali's gone round to the camera again and he's just chucking in a few chops all over the spot. The witching hour is close by, probably an hour away before they really started feeding yesterday, obviously without a line in the water. But there's an incredible... Let's answer him. Yeah, that's good, mate. It's an incredible amount of flow pushing it to the right. I think you need to throw it even further left than that because every bit is coming down right-hand side of screen.
But it's a good spread there, mate. There's quite a lot of chop that I've just put down, so I think that's plenty.
Okay, mate. We'll leave it at that. There's fish coming in to investigate already, so we'll leave it at that and see how we get on. Cheers, dude. It's the end of day 3, the first proper day of angling, and we're pretty stumped, to be honest, as to why it hasn't happened today. It all looks so good this morning, but the wind changed round halfway through the day today to a northeasterly, and it's gone very cold. And personally, I think that's got more to do with the way the fish have been this afternoon than anything else. Gentlemen?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be inclined to agree that the conditions have obviously changed through the day, and that's put them off a little bit. But I also think, you know, we've stuck to our guns with the type of bait we've put in. We've had loads of debates with that, and I sort of felt that maybe if we just introduce some different baits, you know, maybe some corn, some pellets, even some hemp, just to give them something different, you know, because that's what I think when they're not having it, there's always something that might just lure one down to start feeding and then others might follow. And later in the day we've put some pellets in, and there's been...
Didn't really make that much difference, did it?
Well,
it did make a little difference, but
yeah, I would admit I was against it, and I think it did. In the long term, I think it did provoke more of a feeding response. But you can't because it's so gloomy out there. You can't see if they're just eating the pellets or if they're eating the boilies. Maybe it was the light was dropping and that caused them to feed.
It's hard to say. It's the first day, isn't it? I think we can't forget that.
There's a million and one reasons. We'd never caught a carp on the first day before either.
Right, and we've come close-ish.
We've come close-ish today. So because the fish haven't picked the rig up, we can't really say the rig's not working at all.
No.
So the same rig can go out tomorrow, probably with a different type of hook bait on, and then we'll have a talk probably in the morning as to what bait we're going to put in. We're going to lever the boilie in again tonight, all over this bay, because there are definitely carp still in the bay and showing and everything. More bait on the spot as well, and then you can join us in the morning and we'll let you know how it's gone. Frustrating day, but there's always tomorrow. As you can see from the bedraggled look of myself and Mr. Hamidi here, we're well into day 4 now,
Something
is
like
it?
that, mate.
Yeah, it's all sort of blending into one at the moment. But when we turned the cameras on this morning, there was very little bait left in the swim, and we had levered it in last night. In spite of the fact that it had gone cold, we wanted to keep the fish in the area if we could, which obviously worked. There were fish drifting around over the bait and having just a little bit of a feed this morning. So we then decided to put some more crumb in the swim, which we did. Only crumb, no whole boilies, and it didn't really elicit any response at all, to be perfectly honest. Odd fish drifting around, but no real feeding. So then the middle of the morning we put some pellets in. We've got some mixed pellets, and they've got some of the goo put over the top of them, the raspberry plume over the top. There's one just coming into the swim now, actually. And within a few minutes of that going in, we started to get a feeding response, and the fish started to come back in, and that built and built and built, and in the end we had like 4 or 5 fish, didn't we, in the gloom?
That was the most we'd ever had. There was like 5 of them on the boundary of the spot, wasn't there?
Yeah,
coming in.
Just coming out of the gloom, and you just see them on the edge of the spot, and a couple were getting more and more confident, and you were starting to see them sort of much closer to the camera. But we've still not put a rig in, because if the fish are not feeding in full view and we can really see what they're doing, there's no point having a rig there, because if we have to have a rig right on the edge of the spot, you won't see anything, we won't see anything, and it's a bit pointless really. So we want the fish feeding confidently really close to the camera. So that feeding went on for probably an hour, hour and a half, something like that, and it was going really well, really well. And then as usual, the ducks turned up and started diving, and that spooked the carp away, and they never really came back. So probably an hour after nothing happening, we mixed up another mix of everything now. So we've got hemp, corn,
Chop boilie,
more pellets, goo into it as well, really mixed it up, so a real pungent thing that's going to form a cloud and everything. Put that into the swim to try and create some more feeding, and they've started to come back in and have a bit of a pick of it, haven't they?
Yeah, we got excited, didn't we? Because one went over the top and went right across, and then just went straight down, and we've not seen one actually
almost
do that.
Put the brakes on and start feeding.
So you get excited, but like the last couple of days, you just think you might have cracked it with them, but then the conditions, I think, are what killing us, along with that camera.
Yeah.
You know, and it's...
Yeah, that's the thing that we're forgetting really, is that it does take time for them to get confident in front of the camera, and you know, it's only been in there really, we've had them feeding in there for an evening and a morning, and then the rig was in, and in hindsight that was probably a mistake. We should have let them feed all day yesterday and get confident in front of it, but as soon as we saw them feeding, we put a rig out, which is, you know, probably what anybody would have done. But you know, now today, you know, we've had no line in the water whatsoever, and the fish are still being very cagey around the spot. They're building in confidence, but then they're going, and I think it's a northeasterly wind. It's like 8 degrees. It's the end of April. It should be 20 degrees now nearly, and I'm sure that's what's having the effect on the way the fish are feeding. So we're going to leave the line out completely today, keep watching what's happening now, and then basically play it by ear from there. But until we get prolonged feeding close to the camera, personally I think it's a mistake to put the rig in.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I think that spot, like I said to you yesterday, if you fished exactly how you did without a camera in, the number of fish that went past, you'd have caught 5 carp there yesterday. And
I'll take your word for that, because I've never fished down here.
No, but the way you fish and the way, and those baits and everything you've done, you would have caught 5 carp.
From your experiences on thinking tackle and everything else.
Yeah, seeing that spot. I mean, the number of fish that are coming in, but that the camera is where your rig would normally be, and it's right in the middle of that spot, and that's an alien object that wasn't there a few days ago, was it? So it's about building them and getting them confident, and that's, I suppose, the side you never ever see. You know, we deal with those frustrations, but I suppose it'll be worth it in the end. There's a fish feeding, I can just see its tail on the right of the spot. He's flanking, he's coming into shot now. He's eating. Damn mate, they're looking confident. This weather has made such a difference. It is like the switch has gone on. Water temperature must have gone up 0.5 degree, and they're now getting involved. They're not feeding like 4 or 5 at a time, but it's just the numbers of fish coming to the spot and feeding has just gone through the roof. Yeah. You see, oh, here it comes, another biggie across the lens. Bosh, bosh, bosh. About to feed on the kill zone. 3 feeding in the kill zone, Dan. This is the best it has ever been in the middle of the day, when it's supposed to be rubbish. Oh, quality, 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 quality. This is what we were waiting for, a bit of good weather, and just, it's like a transformation in the lake. You got the biggest fish in the lake just off the side of the screen there. I can keep seeing the back of it come back in, having a feed. We've got 4, 5, 6 fish constantly feeding. I think the big plate is about to enter the building. Is that you? Is that you? Is that your head? No, I don't think that's you. It's just another big fish. It's unbelievable now. There are the water temperature must have gone up now. We've had let's say from about 8 o'clock this morning, it's now 12:49, and the water temperature has had a chance to warm up with that sunshine coming through. The rain the previous few days has totally killed the spot. You're only having 1 or 2 fish come in and feed, and obviously it's getting better and better as the day progresses. But now it's starting to be what we expected. We're in the lap of the gods with the weather. We're doing all we can from a fishing perspective, putting the bait in, giving them what they want in and out of the day. I think though, if we get a rig in, we could have a very, very good chance. It's there again in the back of the spot. It's there again. It's there again. The big plated is in the building and having it. And I just radioed through to Dan, and he said he's just pulled out the sharpest capture in the packet, ready to nail it. It is right in the centre of our screen. What a difference a day makes. Like yesterday, it looked like the world was going to end. We took the water temperature, it dropped by 2 degrees. It was sort of like mid-March water temperature. I've just got Mark Palmer, our runner, to check the temperature, and it's gone up to 12.5 degrees. And I tell you what, in a few hours, you can really see the difference that's made. That is like a switch has come on. The carp are feeding, the water's coloured up, and you've got the biggest fish in the lake, the one everyone wants us to catch. Bang in the centre of frame. His head is right in front of me. Look at that. That is unbelievable. I think I've wet myself. I have actually. I'm sorry. It's just absolute legendary. I've got his scales filling the screen. This is gold, TV gold. And I'll tell you what, you don't see the trials and tribulations. Like yesterday, we wanted to hang ourselves laying in here because it was cold. We were sort of stuck inside the tent the whole day. But now, I wouldn't swap this position for anywhere. Loving it, absolutely loving it. You've got the biggest fish in the lake, you've got the box common floating around as well. God, we need to get a rig in. Good times.
Well, talk about pressure. There's about 5 or 6 people here, all in the background watching. Ali's got 2 cameras underwater. We've got 3 other cameras rolling on the bank, and I'm supposed to be dropping this out there in a crosswind first time right next to the camera. They're having it big style out there. The big plated's in there. You know, when you're trying to rig and you know it's going to be in front of everybody, and you got them big fish out there. I was shaking just tying the rig up, but that is the fella that I'm casting out there. So we've got an IQ2 in £20 to £25 supernatural combi rig, a little bit of dark matter putty around the join in the 2, which is just coming out the end of that stick there. A size 6 captor curve shank in the brown with 1 grain of the slow sinking. That one is the pink maize, which is flavoured with squid octopus and a few fruit flavours as well. That's in the new plastics range. And then moving down to the lead system, we've got a 3-ounce cog lead there, so you see I'm picking the lead up from the heaviest point first onto a lead clip that's hopefully going to dump that lead as the fish charges off, and then some of the dark matter rig tube just to hold it all down. I've just flecked that with a pen to try and break up the straight line on the gravel. So that's what we're going to start with. We were going to fish boilies, but the fish seem in the daytime really preoccupied on the small items. That's why I've got a bag on and 1 grain of plastic maize. Hopefully we'll be able to use boilies at some point in the future, but we're a week into it now, and this is the best day we've had. The wind's calmed down a little bit now. Most importantly, it's not raining, and the water's gone up by 2 degrees today. So that's made a massive difference to how confidently the fish are feeding. So I'm going to get this one out there. But if it doesn't go right first time, I've got a load of other sticks tied, and I'm just going to keep doing it until it's bang on the money. Am I clear, Al?
Yeah, do it now, Dan, do it now. Oh yeah, it's close, slightly. It's very good, Dan, it's very good. Come and have a look at it, mate. It's your call.
Right, he says it's close, so I'm going to go and have a look, see what he thinks.
Mate, you won't believe what just happened. Your rig's like landed.
Oh, it's there?
Yeah, your rig has landed. It's all perfect.
Right.
And within seconds, the big plated's come in. But it came down, it had a
How
schnuffle.
many there are in the shot?
It
Oh
had
my
a
God.
schnuffle
Yeah.
to the right of the rig as you look from here.
Right.
And then it's gone past, had a chew up off the deck, and then he's gone left. And mate, oh God, to come that close already.
Looks good, that bit of pink maize, doesn't it?
It looks amazing, mate. I think
it's
it's
just small, slightly different colour.
yeah, not blatant, not yellow.
Yeah. I think, well, if we get one on that, I think I'll be putting a little pink boilie out.
Yeah. Mate, this is just too nerve-wracking.
Oh, common, really close, really, really close. Feeding right on top of the rig, right on top of the rig. Oh, that was close, wasn't it, man?
Yeah.
That was really close.
Yeah. What will be interesting as well, Dan, is now that you've got something picked.
Oh, this is snuffler.
That's the big
the
plated.
big plated. Oh my God.
Now you see why I've been wetting myself for the last.
Look at it. Look at the size of it.
Enormous.
It's like a bus going through the swim.
Words can't describe it.
He's
mate, really.
that Common's obviously like he's the fall guy, isn't he? Plated sending him in.
I tell you what, the plated looked like the fall guy for a while earlier. The little ones were sending him in. Sparky the Trojan was in there eating. I'm starting to name all the carp because they've all got real characteristics. Like one sits on the spot and chews and chews and chews, and we named him after one of our mates.
Well, he's the Trojan. He's the
Party Trojan.
He's the party Trojan. He's the catalyst for everything to
Yeah.
happen, isn't he?
And he sat on the spot, and I tell you
Yeah.
what, he was like a fish magnet.
He's the life and soul of the party, isn't he,
Yeah.
Sparky? So yeah.
So they were in feeding and feeding around him. So let's see. Let's get. Oh no.
That is the big plated
He's
again.
just doing laps, mate.
He's coming in from the right angle, isn't he?
Yep.
He's coming in from the right angle, so he's just going over the top of the tubing and that now.
He's not
That
bothered
is a
though,
sight,
is he?
That is a sight to behold, that, isn't it?
He ain't
That is
even
a-
bothered,
he's
mate.
not bothered, mate, no. Oh, he's eating the boilies.
He's everywhere.
Can you
mate.
believe it? He's eating the boilies now. Look at that. That is an impressive carp, isn't it? You can tell they're massive because they waddle, don't they? When they. He's eating the boilies
Where's
now.
the cakes?
Can you believe it? If I'd had a banoffee out there, I might have caught him then.
I think you're for a bite. What
Yeah.
you've got out is a very safe option
Yeah.
at the moment.
Yeah. Well, he's fed. Them two boilies
Yeah.
there were closer to us than the rig.
But what I was going to say was it'll be interesting with what you've got out, whether it acts as a magnet for them to keep coming back to that same area, because that's what I've seen before. Once you've got something, they're not put off by that pink. It's not like a yellow that they might think is dangerous. But let's see if fish keep repeatedly coming to this area where they've been feeding all dotted around. It might just be
Right.
catching their eye.
Look, big old A-team coming now. Big old A-team. Make a note of that, mate.
Big old 18, 12, 14. Dan, get ready, mate. Get ready. Get ready. Got. Oh, I spat it out. Oh, spat the rig out.
What happened? I was trying to get rid of the ducks.
Basically, you got tatty tail has just come from. I forgot.
They're fully scaled.
No, tatty tail. No, it was a bit of an old warrior. I don't know if it was that old warrior. It came in that way, and I was
Right.
keeping an eye on there. Went there, snuffled, took the rig in, shook its head, just came straight back out, and it swam off. Welcome to day ticket carp fishing.
Welcome to underwater carp fishing.
So,
Well, it's not unusual for your bestest thing to get totally rejected, is it? He's a nice one.
he's a big
nice-
common,
that's
mate.
I think that's the box.
That's the box.
That's the
carp.
box common. 40 plus common. He likes a little bit of pink, I'm sure. Go on, a box common. Everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
Oh, mate, that's massive. That is massive. He's circling. Yeah, we just have the box and big plated today, yeah?
Yeah, that'll take.
2 bites.
That'll do, mate.
That'll do to start off with. The rig's been taken and rejected. Let's repo the rig and get a boilie on. This is a good day, isn't it? We may not have weather like this again for a while.
Exactly. You're dangling, mate. You're cool, mate.
Yeah.
I'm open-minded with it. You do what you think you want to do, and then we'll
Okay.
see. We'll suck it and see from there, eh?
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put just a bottom bait on that same rig, and put it out there, and I'll try and drop it a couple of foot closer and see what happens.
Are you putting a single dingle on, or are you putting a bag on again?
I'll put a little stick on as well,
Yeah.
just for extra weight. It seems to be easier to cast actually with a little stick on.
Yeah.
And at least it's masking the point of the hook as well
Yeah,
at the start, and it leaves a little bit round it. But that's exactly that same rig, and I'll just put a bottom bait cell on.
Dan, don't wind it in. Dan, don't wind it in. Dan, get ready, mate. Get ready. Get ready, Dan. Oh, I spat it out again. Oh, that was Sparky.
Oh, what happened then, mate?
Our mate Sparky has done us, hasn't he? Just
What, definitely in his mouth?
totally in his mouth. Totally in his mouth. Buried. And he just shook his head and it just came straight back out.
Really?
I think it's not clearly with that, the cog has still stayed still. They're obviously not hitting the weight of the lead, which is just typical of particles down on the spot, isn't it? So he had it in, he was moving as well. It weren't like, but what's actually happened, Dan, he's moved towards the lead,
Right.
rather than away from the lead.
You'd still think, wouldn't you? You'd still think with a lovely sharp hook on and everything, it just shows you how many times that happens before you actually catch one, doesn't it?
I've been here before and I've seen when I put some particles to try to get them feeding, just how hard it can get. And
On that very spot.
on that exact, where your rig is now, mate, mine was, and I sat there for a whole day pulling my hair out while Tom was hauling on boilies. But we had to get him, we had to put that bait in to get him confident around the camera. It's achieved that.
Yeah.
But all along we said we don't want to fish over him. And you can see exactly why, mate.
Look at him, he's lovely.
He's a
isn't
Trojan.
he? He's
Lovely
lovely.
carp.
What a beautiful fish that is.
But the
well,
hook bait's working, isn't it? The hook bait is
the
working.
hook bait's working. Well, look, I've got a boilie with almost the identical attractors in it and the identical colour, which is obviously where that plastic has been derived from. Is our top boilie recipes. So
I'm feeling that.
yeah, I'll put the pink squid with a fruit boilie on the IQD rig, yeah, and we'll see if our fortunes change, shall we?
Yeah, well, I think that the great thing about that D rig is it all drops and there's a lot of
Separation.
yeah,
isn't there, between
separation
bait
in the
and-
nation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Worrying, isn't it, that you can have a short little, very stiff hook link, 20-pound IQ2, tiny little, like the exposed braid, I reckon is about 3 mil long.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
so the hook can lift. Your sharpest captor, and they're getting away with a cog lead as well.
You've got your best clothes on, haven't you?
I've got my best clothes on, mate. I'm on the dance floor with my best kit on.
And you can't pull.
Can't pull. Busting all my best moves out and
Lunges the lot.
yeah, lunges the lot, everything. Well, this is number 2, pink boilie, flavoured with squid and fruit, homemade one that I made for Gigantica for last year. And then an IQ2 hook link, 15 pounds, same style of hook, a size 6 captor curve shank, a little bit of putty on the hook link to hold it all flat. And we hope that having that D on and having it IQ all the way down to the hook with that hook bait is going to help and is actually going to turn a pickup into a bite. So that is rig number 2. I'm going to put a stick on it as well, just to mask the hook from the gravel when I cast in, give it a little bit more attraction, and we'll see what happens when this one goes out there.
Oh, hang on, mate. We're right of shot, Dan. But I tell you what, mate, it is. That is it, isn't it? Yeah. Hang on. I'm gonna pan right.
Oh, tension is just unbelievable.
Yeah, Dan. That's shy of the edge of the spot, but I like it there, man. It's looking good.
Right, he says it's looking good, but I'm going to go and have a look. Right, where is it, mate?
Right, you're there.
Oh yeah,
right,
right,
there.
okay, yeah.
So
Right in the middle. Have you gone right a bit then?
I have, yeah. Basically, before you were there, right in the centre of the shot, but when think of the previous frame where we were,
Yeah.
you landed right of the shot.
Yep,
And
okay.
I've
Right,
panned the
okay.
camera right.
Right, okay.
So you're on the edge of our baited area, if you like, in the.
Yeah. Well, that looks good though, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely
That
perfect.
pop-up's like, well, slow sinker. That's just like, it's just nice, isn't it? It's just slightly lighter than everything else. Not blatant. That's a nice colour, that. Yeah, we'll take that. Right, I'm going to set the bobbin and everything, and oh, here comes another one. Here comes another one.
Right line.
He's on the right line, definitely. He's on the right line. Happy as Larry.
No.
Look, no. And here's the ghosty. 34 pounds. He's every inch 34 pounds,
Has
hasn't
he eaten? He must have.
He hasn't eaten. I ain't seen him eat a single
he's-
thing yet. They've properly come back here now though. There's one in the gloom now. Just out beyond that, he's just like perfect position in that rig. Nice common that. That's got a big patch on the end of its tail. Oh, he's in the right position. He's in the right orientation. There's my mate going through. He's on the right line, definitely.
He's snuffling on particle though,
He's
isn't he?
eating something, yeah.
Go on, son.
Go on, go on, go on. Oh! Oh, you're having a laugh. Do you know anyone who wants to buy any fishing gear? Mate, they're all over us now.
They do like that pink though. They're not
Look,
scared
look
of
how
it.
many. Look how many. What's that? What's that one? What's that one?
That's the big plated.
The big, no,
No, it's
that's
the
a
little
little plated.
It's a
It's
line.
a little plated. It's a little plated.
It's a
little
line.
plated. It's £41. It's a little plated. It's not
It's
been out for 2
alive.
years. It's not been out for 2 years. Oh my God. This is just amazing, isn't it? Is this just not like the? Oh man.
What,
I can't believe you made me do this.
Is that the first time? That's the first time.
That's
it's
the
been
first
seen?
time
And it's
we
been
have
seen,
seen-
not even-
Hasn't been caught for 18 months.
Has it been seen? I think Chris said it hasn't been seen at all or anything.
Well,
Well, it's still alive anyway.
yeah.
That is it.
But apparently it does
million,
go disappear.
right
It
shape
does
and
disappear as well.
million%.
Yes,
it-
going for it. Yes, he's got it.
Oh,
Oh,
no! Oh no!
that's terrible.
I'm just distraught.
You got small though,
That's
innit?
me best two.
Yeah, but your hook bait's good. Your hook bait's good.
That's me best two.
Is it?
I ain't got anything else in the locker. That's it.
Welcome to day
Cog-
ticket fishing.
Cog lead, super duper sharp hook, nylon all the way through, D-rig, slow sinking bait with extra attractors in it. Done.
Yeah, but they like the hook bait.
That is-
You can't mug the hook bait off. They like that.
That is.
Just the
that is-
particles are killing us
Oh,
there.
no,
aren't
it's
they?
not. It's
No?
not, mate. It's not.
It's
No,
so.
I think 99 times out of 100 when you go fishing, that is happening
It's happening all the
numerous
time.
times
Yeah.
before you actually catch
Yeah,
one.
yeah. That's the rig that's caught all those big carp out of Gigantica. Like pressured fish, nailed, like they were never ever going to come off.
He had it
were
in his
they?
mouth for so long as well.
Yeah,
It
yeah, yeah.
wasn't sort of like in and out, was it? It was
No.
in, thinking he'd got it, and then.
Free pickups.
Oh, here we go, here we go, here we go.
He's going for it. Oh, he's beating
Oh,
it.
turned away. It's the big plate. It
Big
turned
plated.
away.
Oh my god.
Ah.
Oh, God.
Mate, pink is the colour.
It's, if you were just sitting here and you had that cast out and you'd known that the big plate was that far away from taking your bait.
Mate, you wouldn't be able to go fishing.
No, you
you
couldn't
couldn't
go.
have this every day. Now, really mixing it up and really feeding hard in there. The colour's definitely right, isn't it? There's no doubt about that.
Free pickups in 1 hour 20 it was.
Really?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Stato here giving
Right.
you the correct stats for
Yeah.
the situation. Yeah.
So really, we're just going to fish on through with this rig. If it gets picked up a few more times, I've got an idea of what I'm going to do next. But I think this is what we're all encountering when we get it right and the spot is right and the baiting situation's right and the hook bait's right. This, I think, is what's happening to pretty much all of us, because them hooks, I could not pick a sharper hook. And, you know, it's on a very short, very aggressive hook link that's going to turn and catch hold really quickly. I mean, the one that's out there now, before the lead's even really felt, that should be springing about in their mouth, and yet still they've got away with it. That's,
a nice
he's a
scaly
nice
one.
scaly one.
That's the one that just missed your hook bait earlier. He's about to take
He's
it.
going to take it. He's going to
No.
Oh,
And his face fell there the last time as well.
that is a lovely, lovely carp. That. This is so exciting. I hope you can get that from our commentary. It is, the fish in here, some of them are absolutely stunning, and they're monstrously big carp as well.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go.
There we go.
Big
Big
plated,
plated, big plated, big plated.
Go on,
Go on,
go on,
go on,
go on,
go on.
go on. He's taking it.
You've got him, Dad! You've got him!
No
You've
way.
got him!
No
No way!
No way, first go. Oh my god.
We know for a fact we're hooked into the king of the lake on our very first take. 3 pickups this morning, all blowouts. And then the biggest fish in the lake, the one we came for, the one we dreamt of hooking, is on the end. And as you can by the gaffer, and us, mate,
Rolling on the line.
This is just a joke. Well, it doesn't matter, does it, if his best rig got blown out by others, because the best fish in the lake has picked it up and got nailed. Let's just pray it's out there.
Just pray. Everybody just pray.
Mama, pray for me. Mama, pray. Just to put into words what's going on here. I mean, the pinnacle to get an English 40-pounder on camera is pretty amazing, but to catch one underwater will just be the greatest icing on any cake. I can't put into words what this is like, but calm, boys. Nice one, lads. Oh man, this is just a joke.
Oh, it's rolling on the line so much.
Tom, will you get me my shades?
Oh God.
Stay calm, bruv.
Oh mate, it's just rolling on the line all the time. No, he's not ready yet. He's
all right,
not ready
mate, that's
yet.
fine. I'm just
Not ready yet. There he is. There he is. Get in the net! Get in the net! Yes! Come on! Yes! Oh, I can't believe it!
come on, son! Oh my life!
I can't believe it. It's the biggest one in the... I just can't. It's the biggest one in the lake. First bite.
I think it's a 20. You've been swimming around, mate.
Mate, I just can't believe it. Mwah! I love you, Infinity.
Unbelievable, mate. Put one up there, bro. Yes!
Don't ever make me do these again. That is the most amazing experience of my entire fishing life. I was absolutely crapping myself that was going to come off.
It was meant to be, mate, wasn't it? Totally meant. What do you say? This shoot's cursed, isn't it? Let's have another one.
It's a good curse, by the...
No, you saw the fish take the bait underneath the water. You still say, is it it? I don't think it is. I don't think it is. You still doubt yourself.
Right, Dan's already zeroed the scales, but before we get this marvellous creature out of the water, it's important to just go through the sort of key principles of actually getting them onto the bank. Now, the first thing, you know, a lot of people sometimes try to unhook them in the net. In most instances, that wouldn't be a bad thing, but with such a big fish, we're going to, you know, just try to get this line into here and leave the hook in and try to transfer it that way. So I'm going to leave loads of slack line, so when we do lift it out, there's no tension on the hook point and there's no chance of sort of tearing the mouth or anything. So once I've done that, I'm just going to fold this net and just roll it up, just like that. You can see those beautiful big plated scales. And I'm just going to bring the sling under it, making sure all the pecks are flat. That's the most important thing, that the fins are flat against the body. And look, I don't actually need to lift it. Get your arms wet. It's more important you look after the fish than keep yourself dry. Everything's in there. Pecks are flat. And I'm just going to drop this in there. I'm going to lift the fish up, checking everything's flat. It's such an amazing creature. You've got to make sure it goes back in as good a condition as it came out. That's everything's good there. Checking this side. And another important tip, even when you're carrying them out in the slings, just try to support the body a little bit so it's not pushing right against the sling itself, and that just takes a bit of that pressure against a sensitive lower. That's all good. Here we go. Oh, that is a very big carp.
We've been seeing him in all morning. Unfortunately, he's lost the scale, but I'm told they will grow back. That's been like that since before we caught it. That's one of the reasons we recognised it keep coming back in. Does it come out?
No, he's still there. He's just where.
Let's take that hook out.
Got the rig.
That's it.
Yeah, mate, just round there. Okay. Lovely job.
That's it. Cheers, mate.
No problem.
Right, just sit these up carefully. Just Make sure his tail's not anywhere near where the zip is. This big old long fish, this one. Okay, cheers bruv. Right, you read it.
You hoist it.
I'll hoist it. Just check his fins flat underneath the fish.
Yeah, mate, yeah, we're good.
Yeah?
Yeah, we're good. Yeah.
Feels heavy.
Oh. 44.12, yeah.
44.12. Get in.
Amazing, mate.
Amazing, yeah. Right, I'll take those.
Yeah.
They're flipping, don't be scared of them, just cradle them. If they're off the ground like this, they can't do themselves any harm. Too late now, fella. It's all happened. And there he is, look at that. Absolutely unbelievable. There just are no words. What an amazing, amazing carp. And I have to say thank you. I know it's a bit corny to my old mate Hamidi, because I really didn't want to do this. 5 or 6 times we've been to France, and 5 or 6 times it's failed. And it was only his enthusiasm and persistence that has made us come here. He picked the spot and everything else. So this one is dedicated to him. But just the most amazing capture of my life. Awesome. Okay, before we return this stunning creature, I'm just going to roll him over. That's it. Where he's lost that scale, or she's lost that scale, we're just going to dab it dry for a second. And then just apply a bit of the carp care just to where that is. It's just like an antiseptic that will just help it to heal better. And as I've said, that scale will eventually grow back. It certainly won't look like that for very much longer. And then while I'm doing it, if I roll the fish back towards me again, so just a bit of redness on his mouth there, I'll just dab that. Just apply a bit more. Just rub that in a little bit. Look at that. How about that for a day ticket carp that anybody can fish for? Oh, wicked, absolutely wicked. Off you go, my love. Mwah. Okay, am I clear to cast, Ali?
Yeah, you're clear at the second, mate. Oh. Oh. It's landed in the same spot as last time, mate. Hang on, I'm just going to pan over now. Probably about 1.5 foot away from the camera. You'll get a bite there.
I don't know, that's a really nice scaly one behind him. Oh, big common. That's the box, isn't it?
It is the box,
That's the box. How about that for 2 bites in a
Don't
row?
start doing it now. Go on, go away. Just
How
come
about that for 2 bites in a
Do you know
row?
what I mean? Leave one for us, Dan. Do you know what I mean?
on. I'm going to cast out in the
That's
end.
not gums. That's
Oh no,
oh no.
that's the warrior.
He's going to get called a warrior.
The warrior's going to get caught by someone.
Are you putting the bag on for attraction, or just so you don't do the hook point, or both? Bit of both.
Just say don't do the hook point. I am actually finding it easier to cast with a bag on.
That's
a big fish. Look,
Yeah,
that's long, isn't it? That is long. That one. That's 47.05 Al. We've had a big fish over the top of the hook bait 3 times now, and 3 times it's pulled away, or sort of looked down and then pulled away from it. And that hook bait is only millimetres from the bottom, but looking at it now, there's 2 coming into shot now, 2 real nice ones.
That's high up, like that tester we put out yesterday. It's sitting slightly prouder and a bit.
There's probably a bit more buoyancy in the bait, and it's just sitting rather than the hook laying flat. And plus, it's the way it's ended up resting on the bottom, rather than sitting totally flat. It's just sitting up a little bit, and they seem to be spooking off it. And we all reckon, you know, no one ever does it. A bright bottom bait, no buoyancy to it whatsoever. So it's just sitting with all the other ones, but it's got that colour to it.
It doesn't necessarily have to be bright, I don't think. Not actually bright, but just different. Just
different.
Slightly
Yeah, like that pink.
Or...
That pink is a
good colour.
Is a good colour, isn't it?
They're
but like
honing
white,
in on that.
cream, white, pink,
sort of
that
light
real
colours.
dull yellow that you were talking about. You know, not the real like fluoro colours.
Yeah.
But just enough different.
Red, pink, those less used colours, I think, that, like you
Yeah.
say, you like that sort of.
That's the box. That's the box common. That is the box common.
Turn around.
1,000,000%. Turn around. It's this way. It's this way.
It is turning
Greed
around.
is good. Yeah.
Forget stains, trust pink. Come on. I'm surprised that he's sitting up as far as that, because it's quite a small bait, and you've got a micro rig swivel up inside it,
Yeah.
plus the size 6 hook, so it's almost like having 2 hooks attached to it for the amount of metal there.
Yeah.
And it's
No, when it's just hooked up on the bag, like in the actual pellet.
It is. He's sitting up. Like if a fish takes that in, the hook's sat really proud, isn't
Yeah.
it? He's going to really nail him, I think.
yeah.
He's cocked.
I'll make a prediction that as the light drops, I bet we get a bite on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right on the death of when we can't really film anymore, I reckon that'll go. And if we left it out there tonight, that would 100% that would go.
Yeah. It is a magnet. That colour is.
Yeah.
They are investigating that area. I'd much rather have a hook bait on that they keep going towards than one that's just a needle in a haystack.
Yeah,
wouldn't you?
absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
You
And
know?
when the big platey took it, he took just that, didn't he?
Yeah, but
that
they're
was he
like-
went straight for that.
It's like there's a couple of little men there with a little rope just pulling the carp towards it. And yeah, mate. It is that they do favour going towards that,
Yeah.
and they have done. They did it. I felt they did it with that pink bit of corn, and they've done it with that. Oh, fish coming, Dan. Fish coming. Oh, it's going for it, Dan. Oh, it's got it, Dan. You got to take, mate. You got to take. That is epic.
Well, we've got a complete washing line of weed here. Ali thinks it's a fish we've nicknamed Gummy.
Did you hear me radio through to you?
No, I didn't
You
hear
couldn't
it.
hear
no.
me?
No, I did actually. I did.
Yeah.
That line's all properly.
Oh, there's
No, I can't wind anymore.
That's all right, mate.
It's all right.
bring
No,
it.
I can. It's all right.
Tom's there.
I'll talk about team effort.
Don't lose that. That's a big plated hook bait that was in his net still. Well done, lads.
We'll be putting a few more of these pink ones on, don't you?
Cut. What an awesome colour. It's got to be good if Spooner's catching on them. Only joking, Spooner. We love you.
Oh, this is rucking, this one, I tell you.
Nailed.
Get in my net. Get in my net. Yes, come on. 2 in a day. Get in.
Don't leave me hanging.
Yeah, brother.
Bosh. Right, same procedure as always. This time we've actually taken the hook out in the water, smaller fish, a little bit easier to control. It was actually nailed in the top lip, but really nailed. It weren't ever coming off. Dan could have probably played it for the rest of the week. So just rolling it up, checking the fins. Everything's flat against the body, really, really important. That's what I hate seeing on day ticket lakes, people, you know, not treating carp like they should be. So I'm gonna lift this out now, take it to its captor.
Just off the mat. How big is he?
Bigger than you think, my son.
Yeah.
40, no. Hold it still. 23.12, mate.
Nice. How about that for a torpedo of a carp? Beautiful, beautiful colours. Almost his winter colours still. Lovely and dark. Perfect end to a perfect day. Beautiful St John's mirror. Absolutely stunning. Let's get him back. He's away. Torpedo by name, torpedo by nature. See you in the morning. Morning, ladies and gents. As you can hear, it is raining. It's been absolutely pouring all night. It's blowing a northeasterly, and normally we would expect the swim to be devoid of fish, but it is absolutely full of them. We put loads of boilie in last night, 3 or 4 kilos of boilie, all up and down the margins. Obviously, we're not fishing at night because we're only fishing one rod on this spot during the day, and the fish are absolutely hooked on this boilie now. So we're going to do it a bit different. We're going to just put a single out rather than putting any bait in the swim at all, because at one of the shows I do in Holland, some guys I met have done lots of this filming out in Holland with the underwater cameras, and they reckon that is the best way to get a quick bite. Once the fish have been feeding on the spot for a long time, just put a single out and that's your best chance. So we're going to start with that and then see what happens. The other thing is once they're in feeding.
Go on. Go
It's
on.
the only thing that's
Go
out
on, he's
there.
going straight down for
He's
it.
gonna have it,
He's
he's
going
gonna-
straight down. He's got it.
You got it.
Oh,
You got him. Every time. That rig went in and we said, well, we'll give it an hour because it was so close to the camera, but it didn't seem to matter. They've really built up in confidence and they're behaving on that spot like they would when there's not a camera in now. And there's no doubt that rig that Mr. Fairbrass has caught so many carp on across Europe is proving to be deadly for day ticket carp as well.
Oh, this is properly motoring this. It is a nice size common, yeah.
Shallow
Yeah.
water.
That's on a size 4 curve as well.
Oh, he really got clonked, didn't he? Straight away.
Yeah.
Unbelievable footage that was. Be turning out any better now, just it's awesome. Like, it seems like the spots come together and we're going to get a chance to have a real little play around and find out lots of different things.
I'm pleased the size 4 went just as easy as a 6.
Didn't seem to matter, Dan, did it?
No.
At all. If anything,
No.
it's helped you, you know? No. That
I think that it's the thing of the
The-
bait,
covering the hook.
the bait covering the hook, yeah, and the bait being so sort of obvious. That's the first thing they see. Oh, mate, this is properly rucking this. Mate, there's just that combo with the stiffness of that 15-pound IQ2 and that cog lead with that hook.
Bosh.
Just, you know, it's a lot better ratio than we were getting with the other rigs back at Welly back in the day.
And these are far more pressured, these fish. Much
Yeah.
more pressured, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, yeah.
But-
But it just shows you, you know, the more you fish, the more your fishing evolves, and you just get better, don't you?
I reckon there'll be quite a few cogs going out on St John's with pink boilies on in the future.
I reckon, mate. Mate, it's so much pressure to get the fish in, you know. I mean,
Nice little common.
yeah, he's like a scrape of 20, isn't it? Oh, one at net. Proper rolling on the line. Can't even see the bait, he's well nailed.
Oh,
Get in the net.
brilliant.
Come on! First one of the day. Get in.
Quality.
Wicked. Right, as always, we're gonna just unclip the net and never ever lift them out of the water in the net. Always put your armo retention sling. I'll just get down there like that. Just slide him into there, like so. Make sure everything's nice and slack, and then I'm just going to check his fins so they're flat against his body, and then we can weigh him. Let's get my foot in. There we go. Right, so I'm just going to roll him out of here. There we go, like so. Get the net out of the way. All right, mate. And if he flaps, just try and cover him up, because it's the brightness. You think in the water it's quite dark. They come out here, it's really bright. That's enough to startle them. So we get him safely plugged up in the retention sling. There we go. Right, can I just have them scales, please, Tom? Cheers, dude, and the crook. Right, I'll hoist it, you read it.
What do you reckon?
23.
12. 23, 12. That was right first time. 20. 24 and a half.
24 and a half, yeah?
Yeah, lovely.
Beautiful. Another one bites the dust. There he is. 24 and a half pounds of St John's common carp. Taken on the IQ2D rig and that beautiful little pink hook bait. Just as a single, no bait in the swim at all. So I think we're going to continue with that theme and then perhaps have an experiment later on.
It's past the spot and to the left, but we're in a kill zone, mate. You'll get a bite there without a doubt.
Is the foam still on?
Yes, foam's still on, mate. It's right up.
Shall I drag it back a little bit then?
Yeah, if you want to drag it back down, go for it. I'll keep commentating to you as you do it. Yeah, keep going, mate. Nice and gentle. That's it. Keep going. Okay, mate. Let's go there. That's good. That's good. Right where they've been feeding, where they've almost took it down to the silt now. It looks good. That's in a great spot, that. It's going to get a take there without a shadow of a doubt. That looks really good. It's just which way this boilie falls now. Big mirror, just cruising over the top of it. This is just unbelievable footage.
Oh, that's a big one. That is a big one. What one is that? What one's that? It's a big old gutty one. Proper big old gutty fish, that is. Coming in, 9.56. Well, after nailing that 24 pounder almost immediately, the rig is clearly working well. It was absolutely nailed. Oh, that is a big common, that.
That's a nice one.
That is another nice common just coming through now. What's that? Just gone 10 o'clock. We've put the rig back out again with no bait around it. We're going to see if we can get another quick take, and then personally I think we should put a bit more bait in. Do you agree?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the guy, your mates in Holland have been spot on the fact that, you know, it took you 9 minutes to catch that last fish, and you had a pickup off a tench before that. So
yeah.
You had so many pickups straight away. So there's definitely something to be said about that. Once the spot's rocking and they're behaving naturally like they are now.
Just a single, a single's going to get you the quickest bite. Putting bait out actually prolongs it.
Yeah. Don't know if I've got the balls to keep doing it. Do you know what I mean? It is, because we've got them to this stage now. Yeah. I think it's a risk to sort of keep persevering with a single for too long. Yeah. They're looking for grub, and there ain't any grub there now. So at some point
we need to put some more in. But we'll see how this one fares for the next sort of hour. And then it's in a prime spot, we can just chuck some bait over the top of it, can't we?
Yeah.
So if nothing's happened by 11...
Mama's going to ring her dinner bell. Gums!
It's gums, it's gums, it's gums. That's what we want. Gums coming in, and then one of the others coming in with it. Oh. Yeah.
It's Sparky.
It's Sparky. It's Sparky. Come
on,
Sparky.
Sparky.
Go on, Sparks.
You've already...
Mind your knees. Go on, Sparks. Go on, Sparks. Go on, son. Go on. Go on.
He's seen it, mate.
Go on. He's seen it. He's just repoing, just getting nicely in front of the camera, ready to go. No, he's going away.
Sparky.
There's another one coming out the gloom. Another one coming out the gloom with a big scale missing on one side.
I mean, having seen their reaction the last couple of days and staying in the swim longer when the particle's been there, definitely going to start using it more again with the boilies. I'm always going to use boilies, but I supplement it a little bit with some particle and pellet just to keep them busy, you know.
I think the same when I'm at Welly now. When I'm spotting boilies, I'm going to put a few pellets in with them, not loads, just a few. I mean, it's the same at Gigantica. We put the boilies out, but we put some big particle, like half a kilo, 3 kilo boilies, half a kilo of big particle.
Yeah.
You know, tigers, yellow peas, maples, all bit like big stuff, and spread, just so that there's smaller items out there than the boilies to keep them interested.
Yeah.
You know, I'll never fish any of the particles on the hair, you know, but and this is the same thing, isn't it?
Not all of them want to eat boilies either. But if you start them on something they want, then they just progress to the boilies, you know.
Yeah.
It's that buffet, isn't it? Give them what they all want. Options, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. It's something if I am gonna be spodding or I'm throwing it in by hand. Oh no.
Oh no.
It's just reset it better for
No,
us, isn't it?
hasn't. No, your tubing's bent and the uplink's gone round and there.
Duck has just picked up the rig and totally and utterly tangled it up. All we can hope for is that it picks it up again now and resets it for us. Basically what's just happened is a duck has picked up the rig and tangled it up, and we've tried to pull the rig backwards along the bottom, which we've successfully untangled it, but at the same time we dragged the rig along the gravel and dinked the point of the hook. Had a pick up from a fish and that ejected it because the point was blunt. So it was a good call to wind it in. I'm going to put another bit of foam on, got a fresh rig already tied, and it's going to go straight back out on the spot. And then we're going to put a little bit of bait in because we noticed the fish, a lot are drifting by but none are really feeding.
Yeah, good Dan, very good.
This is so stressful, it's unbelievable. Tom's throwing bait in, trying to scare the swan at the same time. I'm trying to get the cast in on the spot. Ali's talking to me through my ear. It's just like the most stressful angling you can ever have. And when it's going right, it's absolutely the best as well. Well, we've had the box common in there. That's a 40 plus common, definitely. We know that because Adam caught it while we were filming here last summer. He's been in sort of infrequently, but he's just started to have a little feed after we put bait in. Oh,
Who's that?
straight away, what we've noticed is the fish are hugging the bottom a lot more than they were after we caught that first fish. They were just milling around. There was no bait in the swim, and they just weren't. There was nothing for them to feed on, so they weren't any really near the bottom. Tom's expertly put a little bit of bait in, but you don't think that's enough, do you?
Well, I just would have put in a lot more this morning. When they were really looking like they were wanting food, then I would have kept them in that mood instead of just putting a single out. And obviously with a filming as well, it takes a long time to get a rod out, and then you miscast and all that.
Yep.
I think it's key.
We don't talk about the miscast, that doesn't happen.
Yeah, well, it didn't happen this morning.
Oh, record button again, sorry.
Yeah, I just think it's key to keep them in that
it's a
mood
nice one.
instead of just having a single bait out there and just having one come down, get caught, scare them all away, and the mood's changed and they're not back in like they were.
Now, you really want to put more bait in, don't you?
I would like to have put more bait out, yeah. I would have put more.
What, on the spot or away from the spot?
Both. I would have put all the way up the margin and all the way down, so they're not just eating in the area that they're getting caught, and so that area doesn't become scary then. If you've got bait all the way up the margin, they'd have been feeding up there, coming down, taking one bait, and it makes them easier to catch as well when they're properly moving.
Yeah, mate, I agree. I agree. It all makes a lot of sense.
But that worked really well this morning, getting a bite straight away, didn't it?
Yeah, it was a test, and the test worked.
It did.
You know, the guy said if you've had fish feeding on a spot for quite a few days, and they're really loving the spot, a single will get you a bite quicker than anything else. But
We don't just want one bite, do we?
That's what I'm saying. You can get one bite in the morning and maybe one later on in the day if you don't put much bait out, or you won't have quite as quick bite in the morning. You might get 3 or 4 throughout the day.
Yeah.
And I think if you're going for a session where you want to try and catch a few carp, then keeping the bait going in is absolutely key.
Yeah. So when you can't see this happening, you would rebait immediately after each fish.
Yeah, definitely. Like I was saying earlier about floater fishing, that's what you should do. As soon as you get the fish in the net, put some more bait out. By the time you cast back out, the fish are already back in the swim and you've got that mood going again.
Yeah. Bait as a weapon.
Definitely, yeah.
Right, okay. Right, well on that note then, get up that margin,
Get yourself round there.
Get yourself round there, boy. Oh, look at him, look at him. Oh, that is a lovely carp, that. Yeah, he's like a miniature version of the big plated. He's nice as well. Big scales, all that. There's some lovely carp in here, aren't there? That baiting up, Tom.
It's worked.
I think it's worked, yeah. Yeah, good angling, mate. Good angling. Not being decoyed by the spot, just fishing how you would fish.
You've got to try and think of it as a normal fishing session, haven't you? And
yeah,
what you'd normally do.
Absolutely, because you can get preoccupied with just that 6 foot square and not worry about the rest of it. And by doing what you've done, it's clearly caused a reaction, because one of their back, look at that.
That is a nice one.
That is a lovely carp.
It's just the way that
12.23. That's like the little plated, isn't it?
Mini plated.
The mini plated. Just gorgeous. I reckon that's that 27 pounder we've got in the gallery.
Bigger. I reckon it's that one, but I reckon it's bigger now. Look at him with all his clown's back there.
He's been rubbing, hasn't he? Yeah, there's one feeding at the back, yeah. That has definitely switched them on, that bait. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. Is that going to happen? This is going to happen now.
There's 4 of them coming in.
Oh, we're going to get a bite. We're going to get a bite.
I've just got heads here.
We're going to get a bite. We're going to get a bite. Oh, it's just troughing. Look at me eating the boilies.
Big.
Oh.
It's the box coming. It's the box coming. It's the box coming. I'm telling you that. I'm sure it is.
It's missed it.
Is that the box coming though? I can't 100% tell.
It's mouthing the hook bait, mate. It's mouthed the hook bait. It's the box common. Mouthed the hook bait.
Oh my god, that was so close. I thought it was it.
That is the big common. It's just good job Dan weren't here, because that's just mouthed the hook bait.
How are you getting me?
What actually happened there?
Yeah, mate, we're just watching the box common mouth your hook bait.
That's a big one again.
He's come back in again.
Who is it?
Box common.
That box common is massive.
Getting very, very exciting. Clearly what Mr. Dove has done by putting that bait in is got them roaring around the swim now, looking for food. We've just had 2 fish, probably in the space of 10 seconds, go to take the hook bait in. We had a mirror come in first. He sucked. Nothing seemed to happen. It didn't seem like he shook his head and got rid of the rig. It just didn't go in properly. And then our mate Gums came in shortly after that, had a big suck, and the bait just sort of into its hair. He couldn't close his hair. He just got us out. That's exactly what happened. That's the best example I can give you of what happened with our mate Gums.
The rig has now been in probably 4 or 5 fish's mouths and has not hooked anything. And what we're concerned about is that it's hooked up in something on the bottom and it's just not moving properly. There's clearly something wrong with it. Obviously in a normal fishing situation you wouldn't have a clue that this is happening, but we are seeing lots of fish showing out in the bay at the moment. And it's one of those situations, if you're seeing fish showing over your baited area repeatedly, there's signs of feeding and you're not getting bites, that is the time to perhaps wind one rod in, because obviously normally we'd be fishing 3 rods out there. Wind one of the rods in, the one you fancy the most, and redo it, and it can just sit a bit better the next time and catch one straight away. So we're going to clip it up, wind it in. I'm going to check the hook, make sure that's nice and sharp, try and get it back on the spot when Tom puts a little bit of bait in, and see if we can change our fortunes. Just trying to flick it up off the bottom and keep it away from all those stones and flints out there, because that in itself can blunt the hook. We can obviously see it on the cameras that it's not tangled. There's nothing wrong with it there. That's perfectamondo. As far as I'm concerned, it must have just been sitting funny. So we'll get him back out again.
Ah, yes, Daniel! Yes,
that means
son!
it's on the spot. Right, let's just sink the line. Carefully, carefully. Tom's going to throw a bit more bait all the way up and down the margin. Well, ladies and gents, it is now just before 7 o'clock and we've had 3 or 4 hours of almost no feeding activity at all, which is very surprising, bearing in mind it's like a mill pond out there, and we've had better temperatures. Oh, he's just going down and having a little snuffle there. That's a boilie gone up. Oh, no, that was a boilie that he's just decided not to eat. And literally in the last couple of minutes, a big group of fish has come in and started to have more of a feed. Over the afternoon, we've introduced more chops. That didn't really make any difference. Tom put some more bait left and right of the camera, which did definitely make a difference in the morning, but that didn't make any difference. We then put some pellets in. That didn't make any difference either. And then some particle mix that we normally put in at night to keep the fish in the area. That didn't make a jot's worth of difference either. And it now just seems to be that the time is right. Some fish have turned up. It's obviously cooled down a little bit. The light intensity's dropped a little bit, and they're more in the mood for feeding. So we've got about an hour and 15 minutes of filmable light left. So that little pink slow sinker is going to sit out there until something eats it. Still, like nothing I don't know, you think there's something you can do that just drives them wild. That's a nice carp. Is that's the box? Yeah, that's the box, mate.
That's big.
It is huge, isn't it? Huge. Yeah, I reckon he's not far off getting on the bank. Here we go. That's a bite. This is a bite. Nice big common. Oh, he's luck that. He's. Oh no, that.
33 pounds.
He's at least 33 pound. Right, get this clipped up for the morning. The end to a very frustrating day. Obviously, it started really well getting that fish early on. Fish came in and carried on feeding through the morning. We thought we were going to get more chances. Then that sort of feeding activity disappeared, and I think our mistake was to not put more bait in at the start of the day, but it did catch us a fish right at the beginning. Then we had a very lean period during the day, and now the activity's increased, but as the fish have come over the rig, some have spooked away from it, and it's pushed the rig around, and I think there's a load of debris sitting on top of the rig. And just to sort of finish it all off, there's a big old pike out there that's almost black in colour, looks blind in both eyes, and it's come and sat right in front of the rig, so we can't see anything anyway. So we're all clipped up. We live to fight another day, get some food down us and start again in the morning.